Hey YouTubers, so today's quick video under 4 minutes will be on the 4 muscles of mastication, starting off by naming them. We got the medial pterygoid muscle, the lateral pterygoid muscle, the temporalis and the masseter. So once again, the medial pterygoid, the lateral pterygoid, the temporalis and the masseter muscles of mastication, okay? We know it's mastication, it involves chewing and therefore the mandible. Okay, fantastic. So we know that each of these muscles will attach to some way or form to the mandible, okay? And each of those are a little bit different. Starting off with the masseter, that's most superficial, so it will attach to the outer surface of the mandible. It arises from the zygomatic arch. So once again, what are the attachments of the masseter? It arises from the zygomatic arch and it attaches to the outer surface of the mandible. Super. Moving on to the temporalis, that attaches to the 4 T's. So we've got the attached to the temporal fossa from the temporal line to the temporal crest and to the temporal fascia. Now these fibres, they radiate from this wide attachment into a well-developed tendon and then they attach inferiorly to the mandible, the magnificent mandible. So what part of this mandible does it attach to? The coronoid process and the retromolar fossa. And once again, the coronoid process and the retromolar fossa in the mandible. Okay? Moving on to the lateral pterygoid muscle, it has 2 heads. And it attaches anteriorly. So the superior head would attach to the roof of the infratemporal surface of the sphenoid, and inferiorly it attaches to the lateral wall of the lateral pterygoid plate. And posteriorly it'll attach to the condyle of the mandible, so not the coronoid process. The condyle of the mandible is where the lateral pterygoid muscle attaches posteriorly. Okay, super. So moving on to the last and final muscle, which is the medial pterygoid muscle. It has 2 heads, just like the lateral pterygoid, but it attaches superiorly with a deep head and a superficial head. So I'll say that again. So deeply, it'll attach to the medial wall of the lateral pterygoid plate, and superficially, it'll attach to the maxillary tuberosity. Okay? And inferiorly, it'll attach to the mandible. So note that each of these attach to the mandible. The masseter attaches to the outer surface of the mandible. The temporalis attaches to the coronoid process and the retromolar fossa of the mandible. And the lateral pterygoid attaches to the condyle of the mandible. And the medial pterygoid will attach to the mandible itself. Okay, we've got it? Super. Now, really quickly then, what are these 4 muscles of mastication innervated by? Ta-ra! It's attached to the mandible, so it will be the mandibular nerve. How easy was that? I'd like to quiz you now. So if I take my quiz cover book, most of you know where this is from. Question time. Where does the masseter attach on the mandible? 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Outer surface of the mandible. What about the temporalis? Do you remember? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The coronoid process and the retromolar fossa. How about the lateral pterygoid? Where does that attach? To the condyle. And there we have it. Just under 4 minutes.